Ratchet and Clank is the first video game movie of the year. We have actually a lot this year, which is surprising. This movie is by Rainmaker Entertainment, which was responsible for Reboot and Beast Wars. So it's interesting to see them tackle a feature-length film. Though they have before, but in something very forgettable. But this has a brand name attached to it, so maybe it'll do better. Maybe not. So before I get into the movie itself, I want to tell you about my experience with the games. First of all, I've played the first two games, and the first one I actually remember playing in a hospital because I was hospitalized for a few days. So I have a bit of an attachment to the first game because it gave me enjoyment while I was in a very depressing place. And the games are very fun. They're really unique platformers with really great weapons. I haven't played the third one, though I've heard that one's the best, and I haven't played any of the ones that came out on PS3, though I want to. And interestingly enough, the game that came out to coincide with this movie is actually the fastest selling game of the franchise, which is really weird because the movie hasn't been doing that well. So why is that? Well, the story is a retelling of the first game, though it's very different, I think. I haven't played the first game in a long time, so I don't remember much about it. So I'm guessing this is a sort of reboot of the franchise. In the movie, Ratchet wants to be part of the Galactic Rangers, and there are tryouts on his planet, but he gets rejected. Then he meets up with a defective robot that crash lands on his planet, and says he needs to warn the Galactic Rangers of an incoming invasion from Chairman Drek. So they go to the planet where the Galactic Rangers are, and see that they're already being invaded by the robots that Drek had. But then Ratchet and Clank defeat the robots, so they're heroes now. So the Galactic Rangers, including Captain Quark, take them in to become a new Galactic Ranger. And Captain Quark becomes a bit jealous, so there's a whole thing with that, and they gotta stop Chairman Drek from taking pieces of planets. And there's a whole bunch of other adventures from there. Now what's nice about this is that they do have the original voices for Ratchet, Clank, and Quark. And the celebrity voices really aren't that bad. The only one I really notice is John Goodman. Paul Giamatti as Drek works well enough. And I didn't even know Sylvester Stallone was the big robot. The humor in the movie does seem to be similar in style of what it is to the games. At least from what I remember. And obviously there are references to the games. Like the weapons, of course, but there's also some other really Easter eggy stuff. There's a point where you hear the PlayStation startup sound, and you also see when Clank is trying to figure out what species Ratchet is, there's a Sly that shows up and also Daxter. The animation is alright, it's competent enough. And the characters look exactly like they do in the games, just more high def, I guess. Which I think is a first for video game movies, maybe? And if you're going to do video game movies, I'd rather have them animated like this. Especially if it's something like Ratchet and Clank, where there are no human characters. I know somebody in the comments is going to say that Quark is a human, but he's not. Look at his hands. Though if it was revealed that he was in one of the later games, then I don't know about that. And though I said the animation is competent, it does get kinda weird at the end with the lip syncs. Rainmaker's animation definitely isn't as good as the big players out right now with Pixar, Disney, DreamWorks, Illumination, and even Blue Sky. So at the moment, they're kind of at the bottom. The thing about this movie is that I'm not sure how to feel about it because it's not really bad, but it's not exactly good either. I'd even struggle to call it mediocre, maybe just a little below mediocre. Because the story itself isn't really that interesting, and it would probably be more exciting to just play the game. It feels like a straight-to-video or a TV movie. And I think my friend Jim said it best. He said it's like a Saturday morning cartoon that you just kind of watch just because it's there. Like it's in between two of your favorite shows, so you'll watch it. If you're a fan of the franchise, you may like it, but you also may dislike it. Because I've heard from some fans of Ratchet and Clank that they didn't like this movie. If anything, I'd say play the games because they are very fun. So if you've seen Ratchet and Clank, tell me what you thought down in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, by now we're getting a bit used to winter. We're like soldiers in the middle of a campaign, growing hardened to discomfort and better able to